Hello and welcome, I am Min Kobayashi and today I'm going to be sharing my experiences of BookCon 2019. This day is going to be going over my arrival and the BookTube meetup and just my first experiences in the city of New York City, which was super exciting. Sorry, this is making noise in the background, I don't know why. This is not going to be edited. I also didn't vlog because vlogging scares me and I can't vlog like in my own room well. Like I don't know how I was going to vlog in front of people because that's terrifying. Talking to them is terrifying enough. And also technology hates me and there's no editing, so that wouldn't have worked very well. So this is what you got. Hello. So I want to talk about a few things like also prepping like into BookTube. So I was really nervous because I think that this is something that I share with a lot of people is the kind of imposter thing that you don't really feel very important. I have people in BookTube that I love and adore and that I genuinely feel friendship with, but in my mind I'm always like I'm not as important to other people as they are, and that I don't really have like a squad or people around me as much as I just have random little speckles of stars and not a constellation. And BookCon made me really realize that I do have a constellation around me. I do have people in my zone, people that are rooting for me, and that meant a lot to me. That I'm not just some fool talking on the internet to an abyss. And yeah, it was really amazing to actually see that and to connect with the people that I'm friends with. And I was also really nervous, but I was also really happy that there was discussion about this going into BookCon, and that was the experience of self-image and body image as well. So I've had anorexia for 8 years, and for me it's pretty chronic. I think that the representation of anorexia is often wrong in media because it doesn't often say the extent and the amount that it permeates people's lives. And I've been a healthy weight for the last 5 or so years, but it has still been a constant struggle, and there's been a lot of things in my life that have been very stressful lately, and I've been not being very healthy in my habits and losing weight to the point where I'm on the edge of health and unhealth kind of thing, because even though I'm recovered, I have been recovered physically for a while, the mental battle is still going on daily. And I was worried about BookCon because I was worried about the fact of relapsing even more than I have been lately, and about the amount of just pain and discomfort and uncomfortability with my own body and people seeing it. And that was something that I was able to eat, and I was able to be more comfortable there with people than I normally am. And I think that it was just such a positivity of people just rocking whatever body they have. And that meant so much to me. It meant so much to see people that just owned who they were and supported and encouraged, and I wish we would do that in all of our lives. I have amazing friends back home and wonderful, but it was so good to see that openness, and it was also really nice to just dress up and have fun as well. But I felt really encouraged, and at the end I was so happy that it wasn't a time of relapse that had to be a great experience with a negative mental health experience. And in just general, I was very surprised how well my mental health sustained throughout the trip. But I'm going to start with when I left. I'm from Kitchener, Ontario, and that is about 8 hours away from New York. I swung by Toronto to pick up my friend Emily, who came with me because I realized it would be a terrible decision to, make that trip alone. I had to drive in New York City. I had to do a lot of things that were probably going to be socially anxious for myself. So we drove up, we had fun and danced and talked, and she's one of my oldest friends, but she lives 6 hours away from me, so it was really good to hang out with her and talk. And we got to New York around noon, and first thing that happened when I got into the tunnel was an accident. I got out of the tunnel and there was an accident, and I was like, this is New York, I love it. And after some delay with some complications, I got to meet Kenzie and Margaret, and that was amazing. Kenzie Lee T and Margaret the Word Nerd, and they are two of the people that I've definitely connected with most on BookTube, and they are absolutely lovely. And I immediately just felt like this connection and this warmth, and I was so happy. And I loved it. So we got to talk and hang out, and we just spent the whole night. Well, we had to go out and got food, and it was downpouring that night. We got drenched to the skin. I got to run around a bunch of times because I can't eat anything, and I had Chinese food for the first time out of like 7 times in New York. That's literally all I ate the whole time was Chinese food. I have a propensity for international cuisine, especially Asian food. The one disappointment is I really wanted to have shawarma in New York because shawarma is like probably, it's hard because I'm such a foodie, but shawarma is one of my all-time favorite foods, and I loved it because I grew up in Ottawa that has a really high Lebanese food, and it's wonderful. In Kitchener, which is less diverse, doesn't have the greatest Middle Eastern food, and it's always made me sad. So I wanted to try it in New York because I figured it would be amazing. Never got it. Sad. Next time. But I got to do that, and it was fun, and then we just sat there and talked and laughed and hung out for the rest of the night and then slept. The next morning we got up, found out that I had to move the car because they were going to charge me $100 a night to park there, and I was like, $100 is enough. So then I got to drive past Brooklyn to Long Island, which was exciting as a Percy Jackson fan to be in Long Island and park there, and that was fun. And then I got to go on my very first train ride, although it wasn't, I wanted a Harry Potter train, not that train, and I got to go back to my hotel, and then we were going to go to the Strand, but that was a long time and it took longer than we expected. I got to meet Max as they came by the hotel. Their flight came in that afternoon, and we went to the BookTube meetup, and that was really amazing. I was nervous. I could feel the stress in myself. I walked in the door, and the first thing that happened was Kate, they like ran at me, and I was like, are they running at me? Like, I'm clearly not important enough for Kate to run at me, and she was running at me, which made me really excited. I hugged her and was like, how do I express how much I just adore you? Yeah, and that was really fun. I got to meet so many incredible people. An official apology for Jamie Reeds. I love her content. She's amazing. She came up, she said hi to me. For some reason, I was really stressed. It was like right when I came in. Did not recognize everyone. Also, Anna from Snow White Reader, didn't recognize her either because I was stressed. And then later I was like, you're the coolest, most stylish person ever. But Jamie, I know who you are. Not in that moment. So confused. I was like, you know who I am? I know. Then realized like an hour later when I was less stressed who she was. And yeah. So, an official apology there. So many people, I just needed to process who they were. I got to meet Ghost Reader, which was amazing. Justin is one of my favorite people. We're not allowed to pick favorites on here, right? Favorite people on the BookTubes, and he's incredible and just came up and gave me a hug, and I was like, man, you're tall. Why am I so small? Hey, that kind of rhyme-ish, yeah? And I got the 5th season from Leah Jane. Like, she didn't give it to me personally. We had a book exchange. And I got rid of a book I didn't want, so yay! It's a terrible. Someone else took it. I saw them take it. Forget who it was. And I had to meet Bella, the book badger, and so many other people. Sam from Thoughts on Tomes came in, and I, like, freaked out, and I got to talk to her and hung out, and I totally was cool. I also got to meet Zoe from Your Book Nerd Zoe, and, like, faves so much. Yeah, I might have said also really uncomfortable things, like I knew where she lived. Like, I have no cool to talk to people. Also, same thing when I meant, like, I'm great at meeting people. Like, I met Sophie from Sophisticated Reads. Totally blanking on the end of her channel, but was like, yes, I know you. I need to stop. Advice, don't just come up to people and tell you they know them. I did really like Sam's response, though. She introduced herself to me, and I was like, yeah, I know who she is. So, like, I never want to assume, and I was like, see, that's where you know you're, like, humble and stuff, is you just never assume that people know you. And I thought that was really cool. Then, oh, also, Gabriella, I got to meet Gabriella. She's really awesome. She's from Fictional Not Fantasy, and I've loved her channel. Like, she's very infrequent at uploading, and I saw her, and then like she's one of the people that even though she hadn't uploaded in like 10 months, I kept subscribed being like, she will come back, I know she'll come back. But she'd cut her hair off so I didn't recognize her at first, and then she said her channel name and I was like, oh my goodness, I have such like a booktuber crush on you. So it was great. I have like so many booktube crushes, like the list is exponentially long. Wow, I've been talking for a really long time. This is just me gushing over people. We went to the bar and hung out with all these people. It was great. I got really overpriced cider. Cece from Problems with Book Nerd was there too, and I was like, oh, this is so amazing and wonderful. And I just got to see all of these people and be in their presence, and it was amazing. And that was my first night. We came home, we were exhausted, and we started the next day. And I just want to say that like it was like just a really magical experience of being with people and feeling like it was like my place. Like it's hard to come off a high sometimes, and I'll be talking about it later on. But no more rambling. I will see you in my next video, and happy reading and writing. Goodbye.